What's good, YouTube? It's your main man, AB the Hero, back again with another video. Today's video is kind of like an appreciation post for my man, Jaylen Brown. We must protect him at all costs. Let's get
Triple B's! AB the Hero, back at it, baby.
Alright, so first things first, like I said, we want to give a shout out to my man, Jaylen Brown. Doing some big things for the community right now. If you've been rocking with the channel for a while, you know we've been kind of following his journey over the last, let's say, month and a half, right? Previously, he was signed to Donda Sports and ended up having to step away from that due to the kind of the issues surrounding Kanye West and all of that stuff. Heavily involved in Donda Academy. And even though he stepped away from the Donda Sports Agency, which we got from this official statement here, he was one of the only people who was really sticking up for the kids at the Donda Academy school. Because what ended up happening is these different people around the country decided that because of the things that were happening with Ye, that they couldn't support the school and let the kids play in a tournament. So what my man Jaylen Brown did is say, yo, we can cancel Kanye, you know what I'm saying? But you can't cancel the kids. So he was doing things to try to create circumstances in which those kids could get continue to have opportunities, especially the seniors, to have a full senior season. If you go through some of these tweets, you see that a lot of this is him advocating for these kids. You see here, we cannot cancel our kids. Big facts. Also, while hooping at a high level, you know what I'm saying, you love to see it. You love to see it. One of the sad things that ended up happening, though, they were supposed to play at Morehouse, and then even Morehouse pulled out on supporting those kids and having them play at their facilities there. But Jaylen Brown, I believe, is one of the presidents or co-president of the NBA Players Association, who has made several statements on behalf of my man Kyrie Irving and just supporting him, trying to keep him on the court. But some of the things that he's done in the most recent past is going at some of these corporations who sometimes have hypocrisy leading their ethical, moral compasses. So you see him responding to some information or quotes from former Nike president, CEO, also Nike founder Phil Knight, as he talks about why Nike is stepping away from their deal with Kyrie Irving. Jaylen Brown says, since when did Nike care about ethics, though? So just really sharp to the point, you feel me? Then recently, after the 5-game suspension for Kyrie Irving should have been up, a reporter asked Nets owner Joe Tsai if Kyrie Irving would be returning, and he said he still has work to do. So Jaylen Brown responded, this response is alarming for multiple reasons. I would imagine that part of the alarming nature of this response is around a lot of the backlash that the Brooklyn Nets have received from that list that they put out of demands that Kyrie had to meet before he could return. A lot of people have begun to speak out on that. Even NBA Commissioner Adam Silver came and spoke out and said, hey, you know what, we realize that Kyrie Irving is not who a lot of people are trying to say he is right now. And so I want to say, because of all of this stuff, we must protect Jaylen Brown at all costs. But for me, it does not end there. I want to talk to you all about some of the other things that Jaylen Brown has going on, and I think you'll find interesting. But before we get into that, let me show y'all this. Hey, the new merch is coming. You know what I'm saying? You've seen it. I've been teetering and tottering with some things for a while now, trying to see what we could come up with, you know what I'm saying? And that ABD Hero merch is coming. But this video is not about ABD Hero, it's about my man Jaylen Brown. Now, if you didn't notice, Jaylen Brown is currently what we would call a sneaker free agent. Originally, he had a deal with Adidas, was wearing them for a while and after last season, and now is on the sneaker free market. So been kind of bouncing around wearing a little bit of everything. However, what you probably did not know is I was reading this article here about my man Jaylen, and he's talking about the freedom of being a sneaker agent. And it was so interesting because this word freedom and it was used. And when you listen to him describe what that freedom feels like here, yeah, I feel free, Brown said. I think that's how things have been over the last, I don't know how long. You got to rock one brand and stick with it. But it's a new day and age. Me and my whole brand is different. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger for us. Yo. So it says, me and my whole brand is different. We're trying to shift the mold of the athlete and the way things are done. So for me, I'm enjoying my freedom right now, and we'll see what happens down the line. And it's so interesting because I don't think, well, I guess there's this connotation or this conversation that people have. I don't know why I say connotation, but this conversation that people are having about athletes, and then, you know, the oppression that they may be feeling or not feeling, or the different comparisons being made to the trade and the buying and selling of actual people and bodies to some of the horrific practices that happened in the past. And so when I hear him talk about the freedom of just being able to put on whatever shoe you want to put on to play basketball, to me that stands out as something that we should pay closer attention to. Now, I think what was definitely interesting in here, as you get into this article, is they start to talk about what he's looking for a bit in a company and why it's taking him so long to sign with the company, right? Because obviously Jaylen Brown, an all-star, a guy who has a familiar face, plays on one of the most historically relevant teams in the NBA, but is slow to choose what sneaker company he wants to work with. And I think it's so interesting because what he is trying to create is a partnership and a relationship where this sneaker company not only supports him in the things that he's doing on the court, right, with cool kicks, but how do you help build his brand off the court? His brand off the court, right, with these different foundations, social activism, charity, and whatever he's doing, it's something that's a part of him, and that's really important to him. So it's this thing where I think that in yesteryear, we saw sneaker brands really do a lot to build the profile of an athlete, right? And then nowadays, what happens is the athlete kind of builds his own profile, right? You get to build your profile based on how active you are on social media, based on how many people actually like you and where you show up and things that you go to and all of that stuff. Where before, a lot of the marketing around you came from your sneaker company. Now, it's not so much like that. Most of these guys who have their own signature shoes, you rarely see them on TV in a commercial shoe. You rarely see a paid ad for them in their sneaker. So it's a different vibe right now around that. However, what my man Jaylen Brown is trying to do is change the paradigm in which it's not simply about, can you support me or can I help you sell shoes and we have that monetary relationship, but how do we build with each other? How do we make this something bigger than just a sneaker brand? And as we get to these different conversations, you see some of these tweets here where he's calling out Nike about ethics. To me, that's where that bit of holding these corporations' feet to the fire comes in. Because if you are an athlete and you're conscious of the different ethical dilemmas and moral dilemmas that are happening in the world, then this matters to you a bit more. As you see here, they began to ask him about, his own line of clothing and brands, and if he's interested in creating his own sneakers. And to that, I'm I'm saying that my man Jaylen Brown needs to drop his own sneaker. So he has a foundation in a clothing line here named Juice. I assume it's Juice. If you look at it, the 7 looks like a J. Once we get to the website, you'll see that. Or Juice. I assume it's Juice. Look, you go over here and you can see this is the website. So to see how this kind of looks like a juice here, so that's why I'm gonna call it Juice. That could be wrong, so don't fault me for that. But some pretty dope products here with the tagline, most positive vibes, the most positive vibes to you, the most positive vibes to you for appreciating all the hard work put into making these products possible. Remember, juice is your energy. It can never die. It can only be transferred. Your juice lasts forever. And so some cool pieces here. The second thing is I was going through this website trying to pick up some products, and what I realized is a lot of the things that I would want, are all sold out. Man, I need some of this gear though, so we're gonna figure it out. But we'll get back over here, and you see they asked him if he consider his own sneakers, like the Stephon Marburys of the world. Also, you got to give a shout out to my man LaMelo Ball, Lonzo Ball, and LiAngelo Ball, cats who came into the NBA with their own sneakers. Jaylen, if you need some assistance with this, definitely reach out to the folks over at the Big Baller brand. They can put you on the right track and with the connects. And my man says, I keep an open mind, he said, smiling. It's an idea that, you think about, but right now I'm still in the mindset of seeing if somebody cares about what's going on outside basketball, and right now nobody does. To me, that's such a powerful mark here. Such a powerful mark. I'm still in the midst of seeing if somebody cares about what's going on outside of basketball, and right now nobody does. Right now, for my man here, he's realizing that folks care about the almighty dollar, and it's so hard because I think in a lot of these cases you want people to care about you, right? And when they don't care about the things that you care about, it feels like they don't care about you. And when they don't care about you, when you have a mishap, you say something that people don't like, it's easy for them to say, cut ties, my bad, dog, it's over right now. And so you need people to care about you. My own shoe might be something that's part of the plan. We'll see. And I would say to that, Jaylen Brown needs to drop his own sneaker, because your boy AB the Hero will definitely cop. I appreciate what he's doing off the basketball court a ton. To me, I've said this countless amount of times, but I really could care less about the actual on the court things, right? The reason why I follow the Big Baller brand, LaMelo, and all of those guys is, yeah, they're talented basketball players, but initially that's not what drew me in. It was the things that they were doing that I felt like were shifting the culture and the landscape of just the way we live life, just the way that people think, and just the way that we build together. That's what intrigued me initially. Obviously, super talented cast, but that thing is what drew me in. And I feel like it also drew a lot of other people in. And so when I see a guy like Jaylen Brown doing the things that he's doing, it makes me say we must protect Jaylen Brown at all costs. And by doing that, I understand there's a cost associated with it. And I say, Jaylen, drop the sneakers, drop the clothes, and you got a supporter and your main man, AB the Hero. We getting up out of here. Peace.
Be the hero. No, not peace. +1, triple B's. We out.